What's up, everybody? This is Clint from the Diehard MMA Podcast for Odds.com. Make sure you check out UFC Vegas 21, the podcast. Click the link below. Head on over to Odds.com. Check it out. We broke it all down with my boy Gianni, the Greek. We got some really good stuff this week. Hit the link. Hit the like. Good luck on all your action. You have a great week. Moving right along, we got a guy here that I love, Gianni. This kid, I am so high on Charles Jourdain. This kid's I got a soft spot for him. He's just the kind of fighter that I like, and he's welcoming UFC newcomer Marcelo Rojo, who actually was supposed to make a short notice debut a couple of fights ago. His opponent ended up dropping out. They pulled it off the card. He was supposed to fight Barcelos, a fight where he was absolutely just going to get squash matched in. Now he's got actually a really good opponent here. Jourdain is 10-3-1. Rojo is 16-7. And Jourdain, he's kind of the kind of guy I like to call a technical brawler. He knows what he's doing in there, but he is more than willing to throw hands. You know what I mean? He throws with bad intentions every single strike he puts out there. Fast, accurate punches, good head movement, elusive, gets out of the way of the counter shots. He always rips his opponent's body up, and he uses that calf kick. Everybody knows all about the calf kick now. That's one of Jourdain's weapons. In his last fight, we all underestimated his opponent, Khalibao. Jourdain underestimated his opponent, Khalibao. He's talking about how he's going to run through this kid, and then he ended up in a war. He had an opponent that was way better than he assumed, and he ended up getting a draw out of it. So I think that's a moment where he kind of had to check himself on just how good, almost an Alexander Hernandez-esque moment where he went, okay, I can't look past these guys anymore. Marcelo Rojo coming in here. He trains out of Intram MMA in Tijuana. He trains with guys like El Teco. He trains with Brandon Moreno. But he's coming off of a 2-year layoff. We haven't seen this guy professionally fight in a long time. He does carry a high, tight guard with him. Stands tall. Big, explosive power. He likes to explode to close the range and get the distance short on his opponents. And then, you know what? The big thing is for me, he leaves his neck out whenever he tries to change levels. When he goes for takedowns, that guillotine is right there every damn time. He also is primarily a 135-pounder, and for this fight, he's moving up to 145 to take on the bigger Charles Jourdain. We've got Jourdain as a favorite, minus 255, minus 260, and the underdog Rojo coming back about plus 200, plus 210. What do you feel like on this one, Gianni? Do you like anything here?
First signals that popped out, the negatives for Rojo. UFC debut. Those fighters obviously lose more than they win. I think it's close to 55-45. 7 years older, that's a negative, especially since he's crossed 30. He's now 32. The problem, though, on the Jourdain side is he's 0-1-1 in 2020, and he just got a draw as a minus 450 favorite, and you're going to go out there and lay chalk with him again? Where's the confidence going to come from? That's the problem. And the biggest takeaway I hope you get from this is not every fight is bettable. In fact, few are, meaning the betting line gets to a point where the value isn't there, even though there will be a winner, negative EV, whether you bet fighter A, negative EV, whether you bet fighter B. And if that doesn't make sense, I won't waste time. Go back to the last time I was on here. I explained it, where I laid out the hypothetical of fighter A 60%, fighter B 40%. This is your betting line. At that betting line, both were negative EV. And that's just the case. Because, again, that's the goal of the odds maker, of the bookmaker, to either shade the line against the market's biases to where they're willing to take the worst of it. That increases their hold, or have the line to where the result balances out, meaning is split. Like when you lay minus 110, they either need to split the money or split the result. If they could do one of those two things long term, they're going to be profitable. All they need is volume as a book. And a lot of times, if that number gets to where it's negative EV either side, just don't get involved. Again, if you should bet if you have an edge, if you see an edge. If you don't see an edge, your bet shouldn't be based on, I think this fighter's going to win. Your bet should be, you write down Charles Jourdain wins this fight 80% of the time. before you look at the betting line. Now I look at the betting line and I say, wow, he's minus 250. At 250, he's only got to win what? 70, 71% of the time. I think it's 80. I have about a 9-10% margin. Okay, I'm going to bet 100. I'm plus, $9, $10 EV, whatever. That's how you should be placing your bets. And again, here, that's the problem. With the Jourdain side, at this line, it would be Rojo or pass. But I don't have enough data to back Rojo coming out of Combate. And based on the level of opposition, he fought John Castaneda and lost in the third round, got finished. Yep. And we saw that with Gloria DePaula. Her 2 losses came against ex-UFC fighters. When that's the case, they may look like the much better fighter against this opponent. But if I don't really have the data to back that up, the model to say, yes, they win this is the reasoning, this percentage of the time, it's really doesn't, for me, it's not reason enough to place a bet. Again, not to go long, but that's why I don't want to bore you, but Rojo or pass for me.
I feel you. Now, I know you're not about taking out the crystal ball, Gianni, but this is a spot where I'm going to be very tempted come Saturday to look at the submission prop for Charles Jourdain. Because Rojo has such a weakness in that area, because he leaves that open, and because Jourdain, I think, is going to come out dialed in. He's got an underrated choking game, man. He's got a couple guillotines. He's got a couple rear naked chokes on his record. But all we've seen him do in the UFC is strike. So I think when these guys go at it, there's a chance that one of them gets rocked, it gets mixed up, it hits the floor. And with Jourdain being primarily a striker, with Rojo being primarily a striker, no one's going to be thinking submission. That number is going to be crazy wide, and I think that's probably going to be the way I look. The under might be a play here. We got a total set at 2.5. The under is plus 120. So again, for a couple guys that like to just stand and bang and throw heavies, I think someone's probably either going to get clubbed and subbed or knocked out cold. The under is kind of my lean here. And then, like I said, Jourdain by sub.
You know why I love it more than anything else? You're going against the narrative. And that's where you're going to get value when you're betting props. Again, I'm not a fan of playing psychic, because you're just you're taking it one step harder, meaning it's hard enough to try to figure out the outcome, let alone how it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, now you're taking it a step even more difficult than it already is. But the payoff, a lot of times the upside's worth it. If you're able to choose right and you're going against the narrative, there's a ton of upside, meaning if a Jourdain win, if the perception is he's going to win this by decision, and your prediction is against that narrative, then I say go for it. That's where you're actually going to find line value also, where you're playing it, and if you don't even approach it the way I do, you're going to make a bet that I would, because that is going against the narrative, which is how I make my prop bets. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to bet Tyson Fury by decision when everyone knows it's either the Bronze Bomber is either going to knock him out or Fury's going to win by decision. So how am I going to bet it? I'm going to bet it Bronze Bomber by decision or Fury by knockout. If I'm going to back it that way, or otherwise you're not going to get no value. And again, if you're not getting the best of it, placing bad bets that win is just a matter of time before, your mathematical certainty to lose money. Like, that's the worst thing that could happen, is because, again, let's just keep going. But even losing bettors have very big hot streaks.
I feel you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. It's the randomness. I got you.